Right, morning everybody. Nice to see you again. We are talking about the rental process, new and improved, version 1.1.4. This won't be long. I just wanted to get you guys up to speed here. A couple of things have changed. Who knows what the first thing that's changed? Huh? Come on. So now you know, always answer the question. What's changed? What are you now? Marco, what are you? What do you used to be, but what are you from 2 days ago? You are now professional property practitioners. Remember, you're no longer estate agents. Okay, so you're not agents anymore. You're now professional property practitioners in terms of the PPA Act of 2019, number, I don't know, 62 or something. No, I don't know. Doesn't matter. So, and in terms of that act, we have got a whole lot of other stuff now to do. And we will learn that stuff over a period of time because it's all been gazetted. The regulations are out, but they haven't exactly explained how it's going to work. But there are a couple of things that are very clear, and we can't move away from them. So the first thing that occurs to me is, remember that I come from rental. So I am a rental agent, and that's why I'm lekker, and I'm one of the boys. And yeah, we do rentals here, lekker in the East. And I come from East London as well. So you guys must watch out for acts like me. But rentals are slightly different to sales, I would say. And I think the main difference is that I like rentals very much because they are steady, fast income. You know, if you need 20 grand fast and you're a sales agent, like, good luck. Even if you sell a house today, you're going to wait 4 months for your money. If you're a rental agent, you can actually just get up and go and rent out a unit and you'll have your money by the end of the week. It's an amazing job. The problem I've got with rentals is that the paperwork doesn't change. In the past, there used to be very little paperwork for the same pay. Now what they've done is they've brought the paperwork of rentals to equal that of sales. So they are exactly the same. There is no difference. So if you're sitting there trying to work out your life as a rental agent, please know that you are doing the same amount of work in terms of paper that a sale agent's done. And you're going to say, well, that doesn't sound fair because I only get a little bit of the money. Yes, but you get your money today and the sales guys are waiting 4 months. So I think it's a better deal. So please, the piles of paper means two things. That's two, not three, two things. And the one thing is that you have to be prepared, because unless you have your paperwork with you, you are going to battle. So what I would do is, when you meet a tenant there and they want to put in an application, don't say, I'll send you one. Because the first thing the tenant's going to say is, oh, I'm moving up from Joburg, I don't have a printer. And you've already caused trouble in your lives. So what you do is you have a rental pack available in your car always, and you say to her, here's your application form. Show me your ID. You take a photograph of the guy's ID immediately. Have you got a FICA document? Have you got a proof of address on you? Photograph of it. You do it all there while you've got the person attending to. And I can tell you something, it's much better to get, people are much more accommodating when they haven't quite moved in yet, when they're still trying to get the place. They will do stuff. Once they've moved in and you phone Cully 3 months later, hey, Cully, it's Anton. Remember, I put you into your unit. Please, Cully, I need your proof of address. Cully's going to say, I'm glad you phoned. Now we've got a leaking roof. And also that dog next door barks. And you didn't promise, you said the road was fine. Meantime, it's a high traffic area. And you said, Cully, all I want is your FICA document. You're getting nothing from me until you sort out the barking dog. You've got a big problem. Okay, so you've got to do things in the right order. So in terms of the act, you'll see that we've one or two agents could load stuff in the past and can no longer load stuff. And that's because the act doesn't allow us to do rentals without the proper prescripts in place. So we need to know who the agents are. So the property practitioner is, we need to know who the owner is, and we need the owner's FICA, we need the tenant's FICA, and we need a new thing. Now, who knows what the new thing is that we need upfront from the owner? Come on.
Disclaimer form.
A what?
A disclaimer form.
A discotheque form? What form?
The condition report. The condition report.
Yes, a disclosure. Yes, quite right.
Yes.
It's a disclosure of faults or defects. Now that form is Annexure A to the sale agreement, and it is also now Annexure A to your lease agreement. Now, when you go into, when a landlord says, hey, I want you to let out my property, you say, okay, I'm going to send you your authority to let, because you need a document in terms of the act, you need permission. And remember, if there's a dispute with commission, and for any reason, it doesn't matter, the landlord just says, I'm not paying you. And you say, well, then I'm going to take you to court. You and I are over. I'm getting Mikey from Badar, the best lawyer in Bronkhorstspruit, and you are toast, my friend. I'm going to take away your children, your car, your dogs. I'm going to have it all. The first thing the magistrate's going to say is, show me your authority. Show me the mandate. And you're going to go, no, you just told me I could do it. Okay, you're going to lose. So that's the first problem you've got. So please make sure that you get the mandate up front. And with the mandate, you need now the disclosure form. And the disclosure form looks like this. Let me show you. Blackers. Okay. Let me show you one thing. Who can see what's changed in that very first page? Nobody.
Practitioner.
Ah, that's it. You are indeed a property practitioner. It's so exciting to be a professional at last. Okay, I'm very pleased to see this, this development. If we go right to the bottom of this page, you will see something called that. Now, those of you who have done sales will recognize that, because that's the sale, that is the movable property condition report as required by the PPA 22 of 2019. And this is an obligation of the owner to disclose to the tenant or purchaser what is wrong with his property. Who knows one thing about this? What happens if you don't do it? What do we assume?
That it's all in good order.
Correct. It's all in good order. So if it's all in good order, and then the tenant moves out, and the owner says, hey, I'm sorry, my bro, but look, this pool's gone green. And I'm keeping your deposit. But the tenant's going to say, your pool's always been green. It's rubbish. Your pump doesn't work. And it wasn't, you didn't disclose it. Therefore, I assumed it was working, and it wasn't working. And we'll meet you in the tribunal, and the tribunal, the owner will lose, because you have to assume this. If the owner has told the agent that the pool pump's broken, now what? Well, now what? What is that now? If the agent knows about it and doesn't disclose it, he's liable. So then you pay for it. You pay for it. It says so in the act that you will become liable personally. Okay. Now, the good part of that is that I am vicariously responsible for you. So I'm not exactly sure if I also have to pay or if it's just you. But either way, I know where you live, because I've got an application to join us form, and I will hunt you down and I will make your life miserable if you do that. So please make sure you get the right documents. So this page is critical now. It's part of your pack that you send the owner. Yes, your authority to lease. Please fill in this form, and don't make a drama of it, guys. You can just say to the owner, listen, this is a defect form. Just, I'm asking you what you do know about the place. If you don't know anything, then you don't know. So just please fill it in. I can fill it in for you. You can sign it. Okay. Don't make a drama of it. Don't get into a big discussion about the defects and structural issues. And that's not what they want to know. We just want to know if there's a crack in the wall and if the lights don't work. That's all we want to know. Okay. Or, and worse than that, or better than that, we only want to know if the owner knows about it. Okay, do you know if there's lights that don't work? The owner's going to say no. Okay, well, then that's no. But you've got to be a little bit careful with tenants. I mean, tenants are going to want to know. But remember, this is the starting point. Because when you move in, there's still an ingoing inspection. Because at least says you've got 7 days to report a fault, and the owner is not going to be able to hold it against you if you report the fault. So you are obliged to do an ingoing inspection for your that's part of your job. You can either get the landlord to do it, or you should do it as the tenant, and all you, as the property practitioner, and all you should do is take your camera, take a couple of photographs, fill in the form, tick, 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 tenant signs, you sign, owner signs, hand it over to him, your job's done. Okay. So this is the new agreement. You'll see it's in PDF form. What does PDF form mean? Who knows why you put things in PDF? While I have a sip of my tea. Sorry?
So that they can't be edited by our clients?
They can't be changed, correct. Now, there's two things. The reason that we put things in PDF is exactly that. So that a client can't put in their that the deposit will be held by him and the interest rate will be 4,000%, and you don't see it because you made the changes. Now, in the past, I've kind of allowed people to make changes to the agreements, but the new act makes it quite onerous if you make changes. There's a lot of stuff with Poppy in there. There's a lot of stuff with the CPA in there. The new act's got requirements. So I'm no longer going to give you guys a Word document. Okay, so now what you're going to say is, but then how am I going to fill it in, Anton? Does anybody know how to fill in a PDF? Does anybody not know how to fill in a PDF?
I use my PC. It's got an app that I can just put in text.
Yeah. Okay. So let's have a look. This is a PDF that I've got open here. And oh my word, what is this now? Sorry, I've got stuff popping up on my screen that I don't know how to make go away. Okay. So if you'll see that on the right-hand side here, there's the whole editing thing. Can you see it? And in the middle of it, this is fill and sign. So you click on that. You get the you open the PDF, you click and sign, fill and sign, fill and sign. Okay. So how do you fill and sign? Well, if you look at the top here now, you see there's a AB. That means I can add text. So who's the property practitioner? I'm doing under fence curve. It's there. It's so easy. And then you click on the next one. The landlord is Gus or Guy or whoever you want it to be. Gus. And the registered identity number is 1234567 Easy, easy, easy. And then if I get to here, tenant, and you decide, no, but there isn't a tenant, then you take this flat thing and say, no, we're not having a tenant. Look, I can cross it out. And then you get to the bottom of the document and it says, oh, you have to sign. Sign. No problem. I'll put my signature in there and boom, signed. Paperless. We don't need paper. Okay. So there's two things that happen here. If you have a Word document, the first thing is that formatting these kind of documents is quite tricky. So it'll go out of formatting if you start fiddling with it. And I don't know who's experienced that, when you get a Word document like this and you try and change something and it turns into an absolute nightmare. And for about the next 4 hours, you are trying to get the page numbers to work out again. That happens quite a lot. So now that the problem that you guys are going to sit with is you're going to say to me, okay, but Anton, there are things that I have to change in this agreement. So then you change them. Like this there, the damage or the structure. Let's just pick, what do you normally change? It'll probably be commission, placement fee, or professional fees. The fee is 1 month rental. If the guy doesn't like that, you just cross it out. Okay, so we're not having 1 month rental. The commission is going to be, I've crossed it out many times. I'm going to write here his commission is, commission is 15%. Sorry, I can't see where I'm typing. Next to me. And there it is. And you can move it around. And you can do whatever you want with it. It's not a problem. You don't need a Word document. Okay. So now that comes to the problem comes in where people say to me, oh, but I don't actually want my landlord to see the changes. I want to just make it a one seamless document. Well, I would have to say to you at this point, tough luck, because I can't edit a lease for each and every agent to get their own way. So what I think would be a better way, unless you're a high performing agent doing, I would say in excess of 12 to 15 leases a month, and you've got a very specific requirement, I think it'll probably be better for you to do it our way if you're doing 1 or 2 leases a month. 1 or 2 leases a month doesn't actually justify you changing the whole agreement to suit your way. Rather do it our way. And you might find that if you do it our way, your hit rate might go from 2 a month to 10 a month, because our way has actually been tested by a lot of agents. Okay, and this is the same thing as it's difficult to fiddle with the system. This is what I said in the past. You bought the dog, let it bark. This is the system. This is quite a tested way of doing it. Just do it this way and see what happens. Okay. Right. So that's the lease agreement. Let's have a look at this next thing now. I'm going to share my screen one more time. Noch einmal. No, that one. We'll see that. Cool. Right. So the administration process. Now, we've spoken about this a couple of times. There's just, remember that the action, the first thing that we have to do is we have to find a tenant. Now this presupposes that you found a property. Okay, because rentals is like sales. Chasing buyers and chasing tenants who are looking for property is actually quite a hard work way of doing things. It's far better to get the listing first. We know that. And when you get a listing, you need this thing here. This is an extra A. This is now vitally important, guys. This is now becomes a prerequisite. You are in contravention of the Act if you don't do that. And I know one thing about the old EAAB, or the New Property Practitioners Regulatory Authority. It's quite hard to say. The Property Practitioners Regulatory Authority is they are going to want to make an example of a couple of people just to make sure that the rules are embedded. Okay, so don't be the guy don't be the poster boy for failure that failed to do this and get hammered by them, because they are going to pick on somebody because they want to make a point that they need this and extra. Okay, so the next is part of your job. So finding a tenant's easy, and like I said about tenants, and this is just a general chat. There's nothing new here, guys. Most of the stuff we're doing, the next A should have been done. It's actually the old ingoing inspection. It's just now being asked to be declared up front by the owner. So the owner can no longer say, yeah, well, it's your problems, tenant, you should have looked. No, as the owner, you should have disclosed. Then the tenant should have looked. They're both responsible, but both have to be part of it. So the other thing is all of these things, once you've got the property and the authority and you've got the tenant starting the process, now you're going to have to want to load it. Now the problem I get is we are not fulfilling our commitments to this process by not supplying all the documents. Now Madeleine has got ample time to load a deal in a day. There's no, it's not, we don't have 200 rentals that we're trying to manage. So there is time, but what is a big hiccup for us is that you don't give us the information. And I've been looking at the information, and if you find that your deal is not being loaded, you need to be cross with me because I am vetting it too. So Madeleine sends me the offer to rent and the cover sheet. And there are some of you that already got it back from me saying there is no number in here, or there is no tenant, or where's the fee, or show me an extra A. Why? Because it's a requirement of the Act. I've got not do it. You understand? And if I do it like that, I still can't pay your commission. So it's absolutely futile. So please bear with us and try and understand our pain as well. We need to be able to load it. So now, how long does loading it take? There is a feeling amongst rental agents that rentals are frantic and they have to be done today, otherwise we'll lose it. And it's so hectic. And I will refer you back to my discussion on what puts pressure on agents, and it's ourselves. A good agent doesn't get pressurized by rentals. Why? Because you've got the property, you show the guy, you say to him, do you want it? Yes. Now there's no rush here. It's very seldom that another agent suddenly lets the place out. You know, that can happen. Absolutely. You need to be fast. You cannot not be fast. I'm not saying that, but you don't have to be frantic. So you have to ask the purchaser now, we're going to do the credit check, send your application form back, send us your FICA documents, send us your proof of address, send us your ID. Why? So that we can process it. Otherwise, you are going to lose it. Okay, now Madeleine gets that stuff, we do the processing, and then the landlord accepts it. Okay, so now what? Now the tenant, the landlord says, okay, do it, but you better hurry because I've got 10 other agents on the job. Still no need to panic. Now you say to the owner, okay, well, I've got your FICA, I've got your rental disclosure form, an extra A. Now we are going to process it and send out invoicing to the tenant so that we can pay the deposit. If you're under pressure now, the right way to do it is not to pressurize Madeleine and I about, oh, you need to load it, you need to load it. That's not the problem. If the tenant wants it, on the top of the lease, my friend, on the very top of the lease is the banking details for property closer, the deposit account. Put the deposit in. You can put it in right now. You don't have to wait for the loading of anything. Okay, so that is a very big step. If somebody wants something, pay the deposit, pay your admin fee, and pay your the 100 Rand credit check fee, and you will secure it. And in the meantime, in the background, we will load it. Loading it shouldn't take, we could, in a reasonable day, if you get it to us sort of early-ish in the day, sort of before 1 or 2, we'll load it the same day. There's no problem with loading it. Okay, and if it's not loaded the same day, it'll certainly be loaded by the next day. In the meantime, if the tenant says, I can't pay the deposit until I've got an invoice, then he's putting unrealistic pressure on himself and you. Then you say to him, well, if you're not prepared to pay the deposit, then you stand a chance of losing it, and we will load it by tomorrow. Or, you know, if it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you can't load it immediately. I mean, that's not viable. Now, I've worked in this business before, and, you know, nowhere have I experienced same minute turnarounds on rentals. There's no rental division that does it. The credit check takes time. The collecting of the documents takes time. The loading of it takes time. So when a client says to you, I need an invoice today so that I can pay my deposit, then you can say to him, my friend, it doesn't work like that. When you buy a BMW, you don't tell BMW, I want my invoice today or I'm not buying it. They'll say, well, then don't buy it. Why? Because I can't produce it like that. You don't dictate to the bank or the Minister of Agriculture or flipping Home Affairs or anybody that I want my ID book by tomorrow or I won't do it. If you've got that attitude up front, that tenant's going to be a nightmare to start with. But the other side is he's putting an unrealistic expectation on you. So the right thing to say is, I'm sorry, we actually can't operate like that. We've got to get the landlord's permission. We've got to load the documents. We need your documents. It takes time, and we'll probably do it within 3 or 4 hours, but most likely by tomorrow. If you are concerned about the place, pay the deposit. If they say, I'm not prepared to pay the deposit without an invoice, then the answer to them is, you are now risking your own tenancy because there's nothing we can do to expedite it. And why would we? You know, think about it. Everybody's got their day job. Everybody's working. We're all busy. That one tenant's requirement cannot put pressure on the whole company. So that's the way we operate. And it is fast, and there's no reason that we need to have it faster. When you rush things like that, and it's often my experience, when you put under pressure by a tenant, and there's huge pressure to perform, there is something wrong with that tenant. There is something going to go wrong. And it's when people put you under that kind of immense pressure, it's either a scam, or they're trying to get in there without paying, or there's some kind of frantic nonsense that goes on, and it always puts pressure on you as the agent and us as the business. So you need to settle down. Remember, you are the property practitioner, the professional property practitioner, and you need to say to your tenant, take a deep breath, my friend. We're going to manage this rental application for you as fast as we can. We need your documents. We'll load it. We'll send you an invoice. If you're uncomfortable paying, wait for the invoice. If you're not uncomfortable, you know, you sign, there's the lease agreement. You can just simply pay into that account to secure it. We're talking to the landlord. It has to happen in that order. There is no shortcut. We have to load it properly. And it may be on that day that Madeleine gets 5 leases. You will be number 5 and you'll only get your stuff done tomorrow. There is no other way around it. And that's a fact of anybody. Any business that you deal with is going to be like that. My glass window is broken and I can't close my front door. Well, I'm sorry, sir. All my trucks are out today. I can get you tomorrow. It happens in real life, you know, in real emergencies when my geyser bursts, that the plumber says, oh, well, I can't get you today. You know, so why are we so different? So please don't put yourselves under pressure. It shows a sort of a lack of professionalism if you get flustered by your clients. You need to tell them, I can't do it like that. We don't do it like that. We need to slow down. We need to do it properly. And when I say slow down, all I'm saying is that loading takes an hour or 2. From when we get all the documents to Madeleine, if she's got nothing to do, if she's got nothing to load, she'll load it within an hour or 2. If you're number 3 in the queue, that's 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, might take 5 hours. If it's at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, we'll load it by the next day. Madeleine has got a life. She doesn't work 24 hours a day, and it's unreasonable of any client to expect that. And you need to tell your clients, gee, you know, it's 5 o'clock. We can't load it now. Systems are gone. We'll have to do it tomorrow, and we'll get it done. Okay, if you're calm and you're not stressed about it, and you're not panicking about your commission, everybody will be calm. Everybody will be calm. Okay. Everything else on this list is just the same. There are no changes because of the Act, other than our requirement for an extra A. The FICA documents of the landlord and tenant are probably, in my estimation, the single biggest cause of delays. And the rental agents, guys, please, if you haven't been paid COM, and there are a couple of you, quite a few of you, that there's COM outstanding. And the main reason is Madeleine is screaming at me to pay you COM, but she really does fight for you and your COM. And all I do is I look at the deal in front of me. Is it loaded on PayProp? Are the documents there, and can I pay? And if the documents aren't there, then I can't pay. And it's not because I'm mean, it's because it's a requirement of the Act. It's the law. I am not allowed to pay com if there is no FICA. Okay, I'm going into the 10 million rand fine, 10 years in jail category. And I don't know why any agent of you would think that's cool. So if you're upset that you haven't been paid or that there's a delay in that, you need to think about what the cause is. And it may not be me, because I pay every day. And I think most of you will know that I don't deliberately try and withhold commission. So commission gets withheld only if there is no FFC, then I definitely won't pay you, or if there's no FICA on file. Because once we miss it, it's such a nightmare. Once we miss the FICA and you pay, I can never get it. It's the same as with the tenant. You know, I must phone now Recht, who used to work with us 3 years ago, and say, Recht, I need the FICA for a client who's no longer with us. Now, what do you think my chances are of getting a FICA document out of the site? Who's not with us for 2 years, and whose client is not with him for 2 years. You know, it's like, I'm absolutely wasting my time. So I've got a gaping hole in my admin, and I'm exposed now for a FICA audit. They're going to say, where's the FICA? You haven't done it in contravention of the Act. No, it is a major problem for us. And that's what we do for a living. Remember, I'm an administrator, really. And so what I do is look at paper. So help me to pay you, send us the pieces of paper. And I know some of it's in name, a cover sheet. And what, you know, the cover sheet seems like such a little stupid thing. But the cover sheet for me is everything, because how else do I know how much to pay you? Like you go say, well, look at the lease agreement. Okay, so there are 85 of you. So I must go through every lease agreement, flip to page 20, look for the payment there to see what you've written in terms, because not every lease is done at 1 month's rental. Some are 1 month plus that, some are 1 month or half a month, or sometimes it's a flat fee, whatever you guys have decided and crossed out and changed. So that takes a lot more time. So it's much easier for you just to tell me. And even if it is there, sometimes it's not the same. Okay, so I need to see what you're saying then so I can check. So then I look at the lease, it says 1 month. I look at your cover sheet, says 1 month. Madeleine says 1 month. That sounds like 1 month to me. If we don't do that, the lease says 1 month, the cover sheet says nothing, Madeleine says half a month. Now what do I do? Okay, so it just causes delays and pain and suffering. Right. So it's all very simple. There's no, the main thing is there are big piles of paper in rentals. And I think it's they are stacking up to be exactly the same amount of work kind of as a sale, except you get the money much faster. But if you organize, then you have a rental pack where you have your lease agreement, your application to lease, and then you have your authority to lease and the annexure A disclosure, all in a pack so that you can give them to the right people at the right time. You know, and when you list the place, tell the owner, listen, I've got a tenant here, but you need to sign this document. If he says no, what do you say? If he says, oh, I'm not signing the disclosure now, I can do it when I get the lease. Okay, now there's two options here. If you go to the doctor because you've been bitten on the backside by a dog, okay, and the doctor says, please drop your trousers, Mr. Van der Vent. I say, I'm not doing it. What is he going to do? He's going to say, well, then see you later. Go home. Can't help you. Why? Because I need to see your backside. And it's exactly the same for the owner. You say, and listen, thank you for your authority to let. I need a disclosure form. Now I'm not filling that in now. Well, then I'm afraid I can't do business with you. And you need to move on. Why? Because you are a professional property practitioner. And if you need to push back against people who are trying to subvert you, because it means you can't get paid and you're exposing yourself to legislative penalties from the regulatory authority. Okay, so you have to get it into your heads. You're no longer just an estate agent from PE, like a scully going around doing a couple of rentals. No, now you're a professional property practitioner. And professional property practitioners drop their trousers when the doctor asks. Okay. Yeah, that's probably the worst analogy I've ever used. But okay, so, but you understand what I mean. When a professional asks you to do something in the line of his business for reasons that are statutory requirements, you need to comply, otherwise they can't help you. So if you want to go and buy a gun and they say, well, show us your ID and get a gun license, and you say, no, I'm not going to do that, just give me the gun. What do you think they're going to say? And I say, well, then I can't help you. And you guys need to be tough, and you need to say that, because we need to teach these clients that we are professionals, and the industry has requirements. Because once you get past that point and you haven't got the paper, you'll never get it. Because the problem you've got is so fundamental. Okay, so this is the last thing I'm going to say. The problem is so fundamental. When the guy says to you, I will fill it in at the time of the lease, the answer actually is, Mr. Smith, the Act doesn't allow for it to be done retroactively. So you can't marry me and then I say to you, oh, by the way, I used to be a woman. It's too late. That's not the way you do it. You have to disclose it up front. Because why? It says so in the Act. It says that you have to disclose all these things so that the person who's doing the lease or doing the purchase makes an informed decision. If you don't do that, you're in contravention of the Act and you are going to get hammered, Mr. Owner or landlord. And there's two things that you never tell a landlord. You never tell him my dog analogy of biting and dropping his pants. Okay. And the other one I'll tell you next week. So join us next week for training. Okay. Are there any questions about this? Okay. Rentals, guys, are brilliant. A lot of you make very good money out of rentals. Don't lose heart with rentals and paperwork. Just be prepared. Just get your stuff together and be strong with the people who push back on you. When people say FICA, I'm not doing FICA. You must stop immediately then. I'm saying, I beg your pardon? What do you mean you're not doing FICA? You do FICA all the time. Your bank requires FICA. Everything you do requires FICA. You can't get a cell phone without FICA. Why do you think I can rent out your house without FICA? And by the way, Mr. Owner, why would you want me? So are you saying you're not going to give me your FICA? So I don't need FICA from your tenant in. So I'm going to put somebody in there without knowing who he is. Are you happy with that? No, of course not. Well, it's the same way. Do you think the tenant's going to want to rent something from somebody that we don't know who he is? Okay. And I think if you talk in this way where it's obvious, like you certainly can't do business with people you don't know your client, KYC. Come on, fight fair. And you don't want to fill in the document? Wow, are you hiding something? That's the first thing that comes to my mind. Wow, what's wrong with the house? You are letting yourself into a nightmare if you don't get these documents. Okay. But more than that, you're not going to get paid. Okay. Never, ever repeat the drop pants story. But have a nice day. Go do some rentals. No more questions. Okay, we'll see you next week. Thanks, guys. Stop sharing and have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Cheers, Anton.